Hi, I'm Cal McNair with the Houston Texans. Congratulations to the SFL for 10 great years.
This is Antonio Smith of the Houston Texans. Congratulations to the SFL for 10 great years.
Welcome to the SFL 10-year celebration. Thank you for coming out to celebrate our past and future of our league.
We started the SFL, really, it began at a breakfast over at Buffalo Grill. It was Lee Oden, Bob Frappier, Quinn Hebert, Jeff Springmeyer, and myself. In going into the fall of 2001, we didn't have enough kids at that point to know that we could form a league where we could break up into teams and play each other. And so we chose to join a league called Fun Football. We entered a franchise, as it's called, which was the Westview Shamrocks. We actually regenerated the Westview Shamrock program. Many of the dads that ended up being our coaches when they were kids used to play for Fun Football as either Westview Shamrocks or Bel Air Bears. The first year as Westview Shamrocks, we had about 75 kids in 3 different divisions. I believe there were about a dozen cheerleaders. And we would play as Westview against Bel Air and South Main and various different franchises within that league. By the second year, our numbers doubled. In some divisions, we entered actually 2 teams rather than 1. And that was something that Fun Football had not experienced before. And it was growth, 100% growth was something we didn't expect, but it obviously sent us the signal that what we did had been well received in the community and was something that was worthy of our energies. By the third year, it looked like we were going to double again. At that point, we realized that we were becoming too big for Fun Football. We were approaching 300 kids. We had, I think, in the neighborhood of 40 or 50 cheerleaders. It was a tremendous number of girls that were also showing an interest. We had a couple of ladies that were involved whose contribution were just tremendous. Fran Berg assisted me directly on the operational side, and without her, this league also would not be possible. Donna Josky was involved with the formation of the cheerleading program. She was our representative and our head coach when we cheered out at Fun Football, and then when we began the SFL, she helped us transition into the cheer program that we have today. And so it was that point in 2003, or actually in the spring of 2003, that we decided to leave Fun Football and form the Southwest Football League, or SFL as we know it today. And that was really the genesis for the SFL. We formed our own league and had interleague play just amongst ourselves, had a tryouts, draft, everything much like you see today.
Well, I took over in year 4 at the SFL from Will. So I was on the old fields. And I had the job of actually getting the new fields ready. And we played on them the second year, which I think was 2008. And I know it was 2008 because we had a hurricane come through, Hurricane Ike. We had just gotten the fields put together, had them 3 brand new beautiful football fields. We had them laser crowned. We had the turf all rolled out and it was growing beautifully. We were ready to start the season and the hurricane came through. So, and it severely damaged one of the fields. The field that's currently called Bertrand Field, the storm actually took the entire bleachers and plowed them through the field and snapped the bleachers in half. So it was obviously a pretty powerful storm. So it delayed the opening of the season about a month. But we got everything together, all the volunteers, which have always been great, and what makes the SFL great, got together and got us back up and running. So that was a lot of fun on the second year of my reign over at the SFL.
Bert, it's our defender. Low, it's our ball carrier. There you go. Hey,
there's I think several operational pieces of the SFL that differentiate from other football leagues, other youth football leagues in our city or in our community or in our country for that matter. But one of the things that we do in the SFL is we redraft every year. And when I say redraft, every kid on the team is drafted by his coach. There are no predetermined selections on the team, up to and including an assistant coach's kid, for example. So a coach's son will get slotted in the draft, but beyond that, everybody is fair game to get drafted onto those teams. And that has always been controversial with those parents that want to have a certain coach or want to play with certain kids. But the reality is, it's the greatest quality of a youth sports organization that I've ever seen. And the reason is, I've had teams, I've coached on teams, and I've been on teams where I never would have gotten to know other families, other kids, other parents, had I not been in that exact situation. And again, that goes back to Mr. Bertrand laying down that edict a long time ago, and it's one that exists today, and I hope that it always will.
And he moved to Texas, and one of the first things I observed after moving to Texas is, wow, the first grader across the street is playing padded football. That is different. And then I think the guy's mom told me they waited until first grade. They tried to get him into a pre-K football league, but they couldn't find one. The SFL is obviously 10 years old, but the world has changed in the last 10 years in a lot of ways. Kids have a lot of opportunities to play different sports. Kids sometimes play multiple sports within the same season. We're always kind of learning more, thinking more. Just like when I was a kid, they would tell us to put your helmet between the guys' numbers. I think we're going to just continue to find ways to improve the game, make it safer, make it, not to modernize it. We'll never change football, and we never should. But I think one of the great things about the SFL being as independent as it is, and it is owned by the Southwest community of Houston, and so we all have shares in that. And it's not a subsidiary of a larger football organization. It doesn't belong to Pop Warner or the NFL or anyone else. And so it means that our ability to be flexible, change with the times, change a team name, implement a new rule, expand, change the playoff system, change procedures for how we think practice should go, introduce, whatever it is, have great things like the pin count. But football has to evolve. It has to stay current. It has to stay competitive with the other things kids can do. And, it has to involve the whole community.
I've been involved with the SFL, I think, from the 2004 timeframe, 2004 through 2011. Two boys, a year apart, so every other year they were on the same team. And my younger son, Peter, and Antonio's boy, AJ, were in the same class.
We only practice 2 days out the week. You cannot beat that. Those kids don't need to practice 4 and 5 days out the week. Not right now. They're too young to be doing all that. And we can get enough in an hour and a half that gives everybody the same amount of time to practice. Everything's at the same field. There's no going off a site. You practice over here, you practice over there, that type of thing. There's no disadvantages to anyone. So I think it's the way it's organized and structured for fair play across the board. So I think it's the best league around.
I've been in the league 7 years. I walk around middle schools as my older son today has moved on, and kids are calling me, hey Coach Geib, hey Coach Geib, and these are kids that I've impacted or touched, over the last 6 or 7 years. So that means a lot. Families get involved, keep spending your time. At the SFL, let's ensure this league is around for the next 10, 20 years.
If you look at the parents, some of them are, the dads played football. Some of them, the dads have never picked up a football. Some of them, the moms had 8 brothers that played football, and there's nothing they'd rather do all weekend than watch football. Other, moms, work for some international oil company and just moved here from Pakistan. And they're trying to figure out, why are you putting my child in pads and having him collide with other children? But the way that, regardless of what you bring to it or what you started with in terms of your mentality, by the end of the season, you are nuts for your team, and you are asking, you are complaining about the refs and, et cetera, and you were yelling crazy things like, stick 'em, Timmy, So football will take, it's a great, it's a process.
Double slug zag. What? I don't feel too good. Come on, suck it up, huh? Come on. Shane, we got to move, man. If we don't move, I'm gonna blow chow too. We're in a huddle here. Double slug zag. 88 slide. I tried to tell you, man, I can't be around somebody puking. I'll start puking. Okay. On 3. Everyone move left. Ready? Hut.
Win on 3. 1, 2, 3.
I feel that chill.
One of the, as I look back on it, one of the more bizarre things was during my season with the Ducks, one of our players, he was a fabulous player, would get a little nervous and throw up. Okay, and as I look back on it, the league really hadn't thought about what is our throw-up policy. And I think much to everybody's horror on the opposing team side and to their glee on our side, because we wanted to keep this particular kid in the game, he was quite good, I would just simply say, okay, that's good. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to find some dirt, I'm going to cover up the vomit. Well, let's move the huddle 3 or 4 yards to the left, guys, because, I mean, I'm all for being tough, but we don't really need to stand in it. And so we would cover up the vomit and just kind of keep going. And I'm pretty sure that the audience for this, and as I recollect it now, you know, those kinds of things, they're hard to identify with, you know, years later or even days later, but in the heat of battle, sometimes you just got to cover up the vomit and keep playing, and maybe that's one of those special SFL lessons we all learn.
You know, financially, the SFL has been supported by the families, the families that coach and play in the league. And we had the NFL come in and help us when we were building our fields. They donated about $100,000. But really, it's been the families, and you know, we had a few families that have been very generous over the years. The Hildebrand family, the Flores family, and the Maffridge family really stepped up and helped us, you know, build the existing infrastructure, which are the 3 beautiful fields that we have today.
I also hope that we continue to raise money and do some development of the facilities. We need some cover over our bleachers. We need to finish our sidewalks, and we need to get the word out to our constituents in the SFL and in our community that you know, we charge $300 roughly for a player to be on a team in the SFL, and the cost to have that player and to have our league is about $550. So we have to raise money every year to operate our league, and people sometimes feel like $300 is expensive. Well, it is, but that doesn't cover it by a long shot. And we have actively sold and promoted and begged and pleaded for money for many years because we don't have a choice. Otherwise, it goes away.
I think that is, if I was looking ahead to, you know, the SFL 20 video, and, you know, what is it like, and what do we do, and so on and so forth. You know, I hope the league is, I know the league will be thriving. I know the league will be, there'll be someone like me who's just, you know, in a football rant, because only football can make people talk like this. It'll still be what it is, and hopefully even better. But I think probably the reason is because the SFL is constructed to handle the challenges associated with changing the game as necessary to keep up with the world, but keeping the essence of the game, which is the fundamental draw to it. So I'm very encouraged about how it works, how we work, the parental excitement and enthusiasm about it, and the fact that it is a malleable thing that is not somehow locked into someone else's agenda. It's ours.
At last count, we had approaching 20 kids that have played in the NCAA, have played college football. The league, as I said earlier, was formed as a recreational league. We admitted that most kids would not go on to play at the college level, and we were just wanting to offer them an enjoyable experience. But indeed, looking back now, as I said, we've had quite a number of kids that either have or are currently playing on major Division I and II NCAA programs. And we also have one player that's in the NFL, which is really exciting, and we hope someday there'll be more.
Go! Wear that with pride one time! You can't be quiet. You can't be unemotional. This is an emotional game.
On that day and at the end of your life, you look in the mirror and you know, I gave it all I had and I gave it for a worthy cause.
You think about what that means. You think about what it means to be on your last play. This is my last play of football ever. My last play, how do I want it to be? How do I want to be remembered?
We, every year, are hoping that families will continue to be generous as they have for the past decade and give generously far beyond what that registration fee is. So I would urge all of you that are watching this video to please don't forget the SFL, whether you're a current or a past family. Don't forget us. We can always use your support, whether it's to improve our infrastructure, expand our facilities, or provide scholarships. We're always here, and we hope you will be too.
You mess with one man, you got a song. Number 2, boys, 1, 2, 3, last play, last play, last play. Let's go play it.
All we need is just somebody that wants to do some leadership out there. Now we go. Come on, hit. Everybody's a leader.